My name is Marc Montanye. I'm currently pastor of counseling and director of operations at City Care Counseling.
My name is Sharon Montanye. I've been married to Marc Montanye for 25 years.
My wife and I and our children began attending Christ Community Church in 2010.
I grew up in a Catholic family, 5 older brothers, parents who were married for 50 years until my dad passed away.
You know, there's a pretty significant level of brokenness that existed from a very young age until I was 12 years old and I went to live with my grandparents. The brokenness exists. There was sexual brokenness, there was abuse, abuse that came in the form of verbal abuse, physical abuse. All of those things would come back and have a significant impact on Sharon and I's marriage.
We got married in March of '93, and I was pregnant within a couple of months. And 2.5 years later, we had our 3rd son. We were loving life and each other.
She was happy she got to stay home and do what it was she wanted to do, which is raise the children and be a stay-at-home mom. And I got to work really hard, and I loved working. So one of the things that we felt like would advance my career and my ability to support the family was I would go back to school. So I went back to school in 1999, and 2 years into going to school, was doing really well, but Sharon wasn't doing well at all. She didn't think that I was paying enough attention to her, that the family wasn't important to me, that going to school and getting praise and accolades for what I was doing at UNO was more important to me. And the reality is that she was right. So she said, you know, what's true for us is you either have to quit school or we're going to probably get divorced. I would say I became extremely angry. And I remember vowing to myself, driving down Knott Street, that when the kids were old enough, I was going to leave.
I had no idea whatsoever that he wasn't happy. I didn't recognize it, and nobody called me on it. Nobody said anything, so life went on.
I detached myself from Sharon and the kids in some ways, and one of the ways that I did that was I started exploring pornography in ways that I hadn't before. But it was very passive-aggressive for me. I would withhold sex from her. I would not be engaged with her, sometimes for months at a time, and I would use pornography as a way to get away from her in some ways. There was this vow that lived in the back of my mind, and in my heart what I believed was, she doesn't need me, the kids don't need me anymore, I'm just a paycheck. And it was in that moment where something clicked in my mind. This is the time. This is the time to go.
Rock bottom for me was March 16th, the day after my birthday in 2010. And I went up to put the kids to bed, and I was walking up the stairs and he said, "I need to talk to you." And I thought it was odd the way he said it. So I went downstairs and he was on the couch and he said, I'm leaving, I'm gonna file for divorce. I remember praying that he would die because it would be easier if he would just die. And I prayed for that for months. He had some visitation time with the kids that he would pick them up and take them for the day and stuff, and I hadn't let him back in the house, not one foot in the house, since the day he had left.
I knew that there was something missing in my life and I didn't know what it was. And I just didn't believe in God. I thought people who believed in God were weak-minded and they needed something to uphold their lives, and I was stronger than that. I didn't need that in my life. I had some experience with church when I was a little boy, but in March of 2010, I started going to church and got involved in a Bible study, and I really started to understand who Jesus was for the first time. But there was still something that was a key component in my life that I wasn't aware of yet. And I asked somebody at the time, I said, who is this Holy Spirit that everybody keeps talking about? And when that was explained to me, it just changed my life. Once I accepted him for who he is, that's when my whole life changed. Went to a counseling session with Sharon and the boys, and I told them, hey, something's changed in me. In July of 2010, I remember sitting on some stairs by myself, and we had just gotten in an argument about money. And I got off the phone with her, and in my mind, I said, I can't talk to her like that anymore. That's not okay. Something hit me in that moment. And I believe it was the hand of God. And I literally said out loud, the rest of my life, whatever I have left is yours. You can have it all. And I gave him my life that day.
He had changed. And what I didn't realize till later, but he had died and was born again because he was a different person.
The secret to change comes in the surrender piece. Surrendering your life to Christ and saying to him with all of your heart, with all of your spirit, my life is yours now, and I surrender it to you. I really believe that surrender is what changed everything.